Hello, I'm Phil Spencer, and if you've ever been tempted to invest in a buy-to-let property, do please keep watching, because I'm going to be sharing my top tips on how much cash you need to get in the game, what you can expect to make, where you should buy, and of course the pitfalls that you will need to watch for. Welcome to my beginner's guide to property investment. This channel is dedicated to giving you, the buyer, the kind of inside info that I wish I'd known when I was starting out. So please do subscribe below. Now, before we get properly started, there are two things that you're going to need. The first is a mortgage broker who understands the buy-to-let market. And the second is actually my own property report. MoveIQ property reports give you the lowdown on any individual property in England and Wales, plus in-depth info on the neighbourhood, these are absolutely essential pieces of information if you're investing. There are links below to the property report and of course also to our panel of mortgage experts. Buy-to-let offers two ways essentially of making money. First, there's the monthly rent, and second is the increase or potential increase in the property's value. Once upon a time, rising prices were pretty much a given. But in recent years, of course, the market has slowed, and indeed in some areas prices have even dipped. Changes in tax and changes in stamp duty have also made buy-to-let less attractive. And I think that was a deliberate ploy by the government. With demand for rental properties predicted to increase, buy-to-let can still be profitable, but it's much more for long-term investors nowadays. How profitable is it? Well, that really comes down to what's called the yield. The yield is a way to measure how much cash your asset produces each year in relation to the value that it is. To work out the yield, take the annual rental income, divide that by the property value, and multiply by 100. So if your property costs, say, 350,000 and the weekly rent is £300, that gives you a yield of 4.4%. And although capital appreciation, which is how much a property's value increases, has been slower, long-term investors, I believe, are still likely to see an increase, which means a profit when it comes to the time that you do decide to sell. You need to factor in that you're going to have to pay tax on that profit, but still, profit it should be. To get started does require quite a bit of upfront cash. For an investment property, most mortgage lenders nowadays want to see a deposit of around 25%. That's quite a chunky amount of cash to have. A buy-to-let property is technically purchasing a second home. So that actually means you pay a premium. You pay 3% on your stamp duty. When it comes to getting a mortgage, lenders are going to be more concerned with the estimated rental income than they are about your salary when they are deciding how much they're going to lend you. Buy-to-let mortgages tend to come with higher interest rates, but usually they are interest only. Not always, but usually they're interest only. So lower monthly repayments also mean that you effectively keep more of your rental income. Good news, but does mean you're not paying down the total debt. And that is, of course, why capital appreciation matters. At the end of your mortgage term, you'll still owe the whole amount you borrowed. So you need to be able to sell your property for enough to pay off the mortgage, cover your original deposit, and hopefully make a profit on top. So where do you find the perfect investment property? Location, as ever, is absolutely key. Yields and prices vary all over the country, so you've got to do quite a lot of in-depth research. The Land Registry House Price Index and the various property portals are great places to start. You can also find good information online showing current yields across the UK. So it's up to you to do your own research, I'm afraid. There was a recent snapshot done that showed areas of Scotland looking like hotspots for yields. Places in Wales looking best for capital growth. So you've got to sort of decide what you're after and therefore what's going to suit you best. I also feel that location affects how hands-on you can be as a landlord. If you're comfortable enough paying 10-15% of the rent to a property management company for them to look after the property and indeed look after its tenants, then of course you're open to buying anywhere in the country. But if you want to save that fee and manage it yourself, then a buy-to-let investment near your home is probably going to make more sense. As with any investment you make, you need to do your calculations very carefully. You need to be very, very strategic about it and check that it genuinely makes financial sense for you to proceed. The initial cost of the property is the largest financial outlay, and with that 25% deposit, of course, being the biggest chunk of cash. You may need to budget for furnishings as well. In certain areas, certain markets, they are very popular with renters, but not in all of them. So again, do your research. Ongoing costs every year. They include things like building insurance, landlord's insurance, which can protect you if your tenant fails to pay you the rent. Most landlords nowadays use letting agents, whether they're online or high street, to let the property in the first place, and that might cost anything from 150 quid, which could be from an online agent, to 10 to 15% of the rent from a kind of premium high street agent. If you're using a property management company, that could be another 10 to 15% of the rent, as I say. But of course, you'll still need to pay the cost of any repairs and ongoing maintenance every year. As ever, there's plenty to think about, plenty to consider. I think it's sensible to have money set aside for things like leaks, mending roofs, broken boilers, that kind of thing. Many of those costs can, of course, be claimed against your tax bill at the end of the year, but you're going to need to pay tax on your rental income. And of course, the monthly mortgage needs to be paid whether or not you have a tenant in place. So good luck with that. Investing in property, of course, it's a big decision, and I believe it's a long-term decision as well. But done correctly, you can watch the value of your investment grow whilst the rent generates a monthly income. Investing in property, I believe, it's a big decision. Yes, of course it is, but it's also a long-term decision. But done correctly, you can watch the value of your investment grow whilst the rent generates a monthly income. So good luck. If you found the guide to be helpful, please like it. Please subscribe to this channel, because I'm going to be uploading lots of regular information, some insights, some inspiration on everything that's property related. Please do share your own investment thoughts and stories. If you've invested and it's gone well, or indeed if it hasn't gone well, do let us know and write in the comments below. Thanks for watching. See you next time.